This is the true story of a royal advisor whose secret was not gold or glory, but a broken box of rags. Why did he return to them every day? What was he trying to remember or protect? Stay with this short film until the end. What Ayaz reveals may change how you see power, purpose, and yourself.
The Rumi story that will change how you see humility. In the opulent court of Sultan Mahmood in Persia in the 11th century, where power and influence flowed like fine wine, one figure stood apart, not for his wealth or extravagance, but for his grace and humility. His name was Ayaz, a trusted minister and confidant to the king. His rise from obscurity to a place beside the throne stirred envy among other ministers, who whispered behind silk curtains and questioned how a man of such modest beginnings held such favor. Unlike the other courtiers, Ayaz lived in a simple chamber near the servants' quarters. He brought no lavish possessions, no display of titles, but what truly puzzled and provoked his peers was a quiet habit. Each day, Ayaz returned to his humble room, sometimes more than once, without explanation. The routine seemed peculiar, even suspicious. Whispers turned into rumors. What did he hide in that plain, quiet room?
Your Majesty, perhaps Ayaz is storing treasures, hoarding wealth in secret.
Though Sultan Mahmood had unwavering trust in Ayaz, he agreed to an inspection. Not out of doubt, but to calm the rising unrest. Wazir led a group of guards to Ayaz's quarters. They searched every corner, beneath the bed, behind the walls, under loose stones. What they found was nothing of value. Only a small, splintered wooden box sat at the foot of his bed. Inside it lay a faded shirt, a pair of threadbare trousers, and old, worn-out shoes. The items looked like they belonged to a beggar, not a royal advisor.
There is no gold, no secrets, only rags, a broken box of rags.
Curiosity now overtook the king. What was the purpose of these items? Why return to them so faithfully each day? He summoned Ayaz for a private audience.
Not out of mistrust, but to calm the whispers of the court.
Your Majesty's trust is my greatest treasure, and I understand why the search was necessary.
Tell me then, Ayaz, why those old clothes? Why return to them daily?
When I was a poor shepherd, those were the only garments I owned. I keep them close, not out of sentimentality, but to remember. Each morning I sit with them before I dress for court. I remember where I came from. I remember the hunger, the loneliness, the prayers whispered to the sky. These rags keep my heart open to the people who still suffer. They remind me that power is a gift, not a possession.
The Sultan remained silent, his eyes fixed on Ayaz. In that moment he saw not just a loyal servant, but a mirror of wisdom. Ayaz's strength did not lie in titles or wealth, but in remembrance, in humility.
Ayaz's story is not about clothing or secrecy. It is about anchoring the true self. In a world that constantly pushes us toward more and more success, wealth, recognition, Ayaz chose to remember less. He chose simplicity over pride, empathy over image. The worn shoes and the torn shirt were not signs of weakness, but of strength. They reminded him of who he had once been and who he must never stop serving. Lose your ego to find your true self. Ayaz had power, but he did not let power have him. And what about us? Can we sit with our past, not in shame, but in reverence? Can we look at what we once were and allow it to soften our hearts? Humility is not about lowering ourselves. It is about becoming grounded enough to rise. Remembering our roots, we return to the heart. Honoring our beginnings, we make space for compassion. And in that space, we find our true self.
If this video touched your heart, subscribe. It's inspired by the timeless wisdom in the seven-book Rumi collection by Dr. Farid Mostaman. Whether you seek healing, love, clarity, or growth, these teachings will guide you inward to the truth of who you are.